Hello friend, my name is Ruparelia Prince. Today, known once crazy. Let me tell you about a problem. It might make you feel better about what you do with your money and less judgmental about what other people do with theirs. People do some crazy things with money, but no one is crazy. Here's the thing: people from different generation raised raised by different parents who earn earn a different income and held a different value in different part of the world, born into different economic exper- experience, different job markets with different incentives and different degrees of luck, very different lessons. Everyone has their own unique experience with how the world works, and what you experience is more compelling than what you learn second hand. So all of us, you, me, everyone go through life anchored to a set of view about how money works that vary widely from a person to person. What seems crazy to you might make sense to me. The person who grew up in poverty, poverty, poverty thinks about risk and reward in ways the child of a well, wealthy banker cannot fa- fathom if he tried. The person who grew up when inf- inflation was high experience something. The person who grew up with stable price never had to stock broken, who lost everything during the Great Depression experience something. The teach worker basic basking basking in the glory of the late 1990s. Can't imagine imagine can't imagine the Australian who hasn't seen a recession in 13 years, has experienced something no American ever has. No American ever has. On on the list of experience is endless. You know stuff about money that don't uh, I don't, and vice versa. You go growth. You go through life with different be life's goals and forecast than I do. That's not because one of us is smarter than the other or has better information. It's because we've had different lifespan shaped by different and equally persuasive experience. Your personal experience with money make up maybe 0.000000001 percentage of what's happened in the world, but maybe 18% of how you think the world works. So equally smart people can disagree about how and why regions happen, how you should invest your money, what you should priorities, how much risk you should take, and so on. In his book on 1913's America, Frederick Lewis Allen wrote that the Great Depression marked millions of Americans inwardly for the rest of their lives, but there was a range of experience 25 years later as he was running for President. John F. Kennedy was asked by a reporter what he remembered from the depression. He remarked, "I have no first-hand knowledge of the depression. My family had one of the great fortunes of the world, and it was worth more than ever. Then we had bigger house, more servants, we traveled more. About the only thing that I saw directly was when my father hired some extra gardeners just to give them a job so they could eat. I really did not learn about the depression until I read about it as a Harvard. This was a major point in the 1916 election. How people thought could someone with no understanding of the biggest economic story of the last generation but be last generation be put in charge but be put in charge of the economy. It was in many ways overcome by JFK's experience in World War II. That was the other most widespread emotional experience of the previous generation, and something his primary opponent Herbert Humphrey didn't have. The challenge for us is that the challenge for us is that no amount of studying or open mindedness can geniusly recreate the power of fear and uncertainty. I can read about what it was like to lose everything during the Great Depression, but I don't have the emotional scares of those who actually experienced it, and the person who lived through it cannot fathom why someone like me could come across as a complacent about think like owning stock. We see the world through a different lens. Spreadsheets can model the historic frequency of big stock market declines, but they can't model the feeling of coming home, looking at your kinds and wondering if you made mistakes that we impact their lives. Studying history makes you feel like you understand something, but you need until you live through it and personally felt its consequence. You may not understand it enough to change your behavior. We all think we know how the world works, but we've all only experienced a teeny sliver of it. As an investor, Michael Betnick says some lessons have to be experienced before they can be understood. We are all victims in different ways to that trust, truth. truth. In 26 economists Ulrich Malmendier and Stefan Nagel from the National Bureau of Economic Research dug through 15 years of the survey of concerned finances. A detailed look at what Americans do with their money. In there, people should make an investment decision decision based on their goals and the characteristics of the investment option available to them at the time. But that's not what people do. The economics found that people's lifetime investment decisions are heavily anchored to the experience those investors had their own generation, especially experience early in their adult life. If you grew up when inflation was high, you invest less of your money in bond later in life compared to those who grew up when inflation was low. If you happen to grow up when the stock market was strong, you invest more of your money in stock later in life compared to those who grew up when stocks were weak. The economists wrote our finding suggest that individual individual investors willingness to bear risk depends on personal history, not intelligence or education or sophistication, just the dumb look of when and where you were born. The finance time interview. Bill Gross, the FEM bond manager in 2019, Gross admit that he would probably not be where he is today if he had been born a decade earlier or later. The piece said Gross' career coincided almost perfectly with a generational collapse in interest rates that gave bond price a tailwind. That kind of things doesn't just affect the opportunities you come across, it affects what you think about those opportunities when they're presented to you. To Gross bonds were wealth generating generation machine. To his father generation who grew up and under higher inflation, they might be seen as a wealth incinerator. The difference in how people have experienced money are not small. Even among those you might think are pretty similar. Take stock. If you were born in 1917, the S&P 500,000 increased almost tenfold. Adjust for inflation during your teens and 20s. That's an amazing return. If you were born in 1950, the market went literally. Now we're in your teens and 20s. Adjust for inflation. Two groups of people separated by change of their birth year go through life with a completely different view on how the stock market works. Or inflation. If you were born 1916, American inflation during your teens and 20s, you're young, impressionable. Here, when you're developing a base of knowledge about how the economy works, sent price up more than threefold. That's a lot. You remember gas line and getting paychecks that stretched noticeably less far than the ones before them. But if you were born in 1990, inflation has been so low for your whole life that it's probably never crossed your mind. America's nationwide unemployment in November 2029 was around 10%, but the unemployment rate for American males age 16 to 19 without a high school diploma was 49 percentage for Caucasian females over age 45 with a college degree. It was 4%. Local stock market in Germany and Japan were wiped out during World War II. Entire regions were bomb bomb out at the end of the war. German farm, farm, firms only product enough food to provide the country's citizens with 100,000 calories a day. Compare that to the US, where where the stock market more than doubled from 1941 through the end of 1945, and the economy was the strongest it had been in almost decade, decades. No one should accept a member of these groups to go through the rest of their lives thinking the same thing about inflation or the stock market or unemployment or money in general. No one should accept them to respond to financial information to same way. No one should assume they are influenced by the same incentive. No one should accept them to trust the same source of advice. No one should accept them to agree on what method, what's worth is, what's likely to happen next, and what the best path forward is. Their view of money was formed in different words, and when that's the case, a view about money that one group of people thinks is outrageous can make a perfect sense to another. A few years ago, the New York Times did a story on the working conditions of Foxconn, the massive Taiwanese electronics manufacturers. The conditions are often atrocious. Readers were rightly upset, but a fascinating response to the story came from the nephew of a Chinese worker who wrote in the comment section, "My aunt worked several years in what Americans call sweet shop. It was hard work, long hours, small wage, poor working condition. Do you know what my aunt did before she worked in one of these factories? She was a prostitute. prostitute. The idea of working in a sweet shop compared to the old lifestyle is an improvement in my opinion. I I know that my aunt would ri- ra- rather be exploited by an evil capitals capitalist boss for a couple of dollars than have her body be exploited by several men for pennies. That is why I am upset by many Americans thinking we do not have the same opportunities as the West. Our governmental infrastructure is different. The country is different. Yes, factory is hard labor. Could it be better? Yes, but only when you compare such to American job. I don't know what to make of this. Part of me want to argue fiercely. Part of MC want to understand, but mostly it's an example of how different experience can lead to vastly different view within topics that one side intuitively thinks should be black and white. Every decision people make with money is justified by taking the information have they have at the moment and pulling plug- plugging it into their unique mental model of how the world work. Those people can be misinformed. They can have incomplete information. They can be bad at math. They can be persuaded by rotten marketing. They can have no idea what they doing. They can misjudge the consequences of their actions. How can they ever? But every financial designs a person makes sense to them in that moment and check checks the boxes they need to check. They tell themselves a story about what they're doing and why they're doing it, and that story has been shaped by their own unique experience. Take a simple example: lottery tickets. Americans spend more on them that movie, video games, music, sporting events, and books combined. And who buy them? Mostly poor people, the lowest income household in the US on average spend dollar 12 a year, 412 a year on lotto tickets, four times the amount of those in the highest income groups. For 40% of Americans cannot come up with dollar 1400 in 400 in an emergency, which is so say those buying dollar 400 in lottery tickets are by and large the same people who say they couldn't come up with $400 in an emergency. They are blowing their safety nest on something with a one in millions chance of hitting it big. That seems crazy to me. It probably seems crazy to you too, but I'm not in the lowest income group. You're likely not either, so it's hard for many of us to intuitively intuitively grasp the subconscious reasonings of low income lottery tickets by buyers, but train a little and you can imagine it going something like this. We live paycheck to paycheck, and saving seems out of reach. Our prospect for much higher wages seem out of reach. We can't afford nice vacations, new cars, health insurance, or homes in safe neighborhood neighborhoods. We can't put our kids through college without crippling debate. Much of the stuff you people who read finance books either have now or have a good chance of getting. We don't buying a lottery tickets is the only time in our lives we can hold a tangible dreams of getting the good stuff that you already have and take for granted. We are playing for a dream, and you may not understand that because you are already living a dreams. That's why we buy more tickets than you do. You don't you don't have to agree with these reasons. Buying lotto tickets when you're broke is still a bad idea, but I can kind of understand why lotto tickets sales persist, and that ideas what you're doing seems crazy, but I kind of understand why you're doing it. Uncover uncovers the root of many of our financial decisions. Few, five, few people make financial decision purely with a spreadsheet. They make them at the dinner table or in a company meeting place where personal history, your own unique view of the world, ego, pride, marketing, and odd incentives are scram- scrambled together into a narrative that works for you. Another important point that helps explain why money discussions are so difficult and why there is so much misbehavior is to recognize how new this topic is. Money has been around a long time. King Alyats of Lydia, now parts of Turkey, is thought to have created the first official currency in 1600 BC, but the modern foundation of money decisions, saving, and investing is based around concepts that are partially infants. Take a retirement retirement at the end of 28 2018. There was a $27 trillion in US retirement accounts, making it the main driver of the common investors' saving and investing decisions. But the entire concept of being entitled to retirement is at most two generation old. Before World War II, most American work until they did that was the expectation and the reality. The labor force participants rate of men at 65 and over was above 15% unit till the 1940s. Social Security may change this, but its initial benefits were nothing close to a proper pension. When idea may case the first Social Security check in 1914, it was for 22.54 or 416 adjust for inflation. It was not unit till the 1918s that the average social security check for retirees exceeded 100,000 a month, adjust for inflation. More than a quarter of Americans over age of 65 were classified by the conscious Buria as living in poverty, priority, poverty unit the late 1916s. There is a widespread belief along the line of everyone used to have a private passion, but this is a widely exaggeration. The Employee Benefit Research Institute explain only a quarter of those age 65 or older had pension income in 1975. Among that lucky minority, only 15% of household income came from a pension. The New York Times wrote in 1955 about the growing desire but continue inability to restart to reverse an old saying, everyone talk about retirement, but apparently very few do anything about it.